The Joker throw Jamal Murray into the pool in the locker room. And then Aaron Gordon just decided to take a shirtless stroll. Why not? Denver after the win. Why not?
I know this, but he walking with the
Good for the
Clippers.
Nuggets. It was awesome. My favorite moment from last night was right after the game. Popeye Jones, longtime assistant coach, after the Olympics with the Nets, came up to Jokic and said, "Thank you, I can't cry." It was very cool, moments like that. A guy like Popeye's been around the league decades. Guys don't get a chance to be with a guy like Nikola Jokic ever. And to get to see guys like that get a chance to celebrate, it's very cool.
I want to shout out my boy Jeff Green. He was on that list earlier this year.
That's
that
right.
hasn't gotten a championship. Boy, is Saxa and Pete.
He
He
good for quarter three.
Yeah. He is. Shout out to Jeff.
She likes to play basketball.
Now that the season is over and we have a new NBA champ, we're going to get to the next facts. Okay? Ready for this? Here's the next fact. You'll never hear this anywhere else. No, sure we won't. Jokic is now officially the best player in the world. I thought we were going to say
Oh, wow.
I thought we were going to go back to that. I mean, yes, it's very clearly a fact. This unlike the Jimmy Butler is going to score double digits and the Heat are going to win max fact, but I've heard a bunch the last week. They did it. He scored double digits. He didn't score double digits. Sloth, but Nikola Jokic has gotten to the top of the mountain. He's gotten to the top of the mountain, won the championship, did it in dominant fashion. And like we've talked about a bunch, Denver has a chance to be a team like Golden State 8 years ago. There's a lot of 2015 Warriors vibes with this team. Now they have to have health. They got to keep this group together. We'll see what happens going forward around the league. But certainly, you look at this Denver team, there's not an obvious team in either conference. You say they're definitely going to beat them over the next 2 or 3 years.
Concepts, I just want you to say, you know you're my rational basketball sensei with the numbers and the reality. I hear you dancing around LeVar G-Y-N-A-S-E-Y, but I just want you to say it.
What, they could be a dynasty?
Yeah.
It could be.
It's a start. I think
It's absolutely a start.
Nikola Jokic is as unique and a problem as Steph Curry was when they hit their stride.
Look, you look at this team has the perfect combination of elite level players going into their prime under contract. The teams like Milwaukee, teams like the Warriors last year with an older team, teams like the Lakers with AD and LeBron getting out of their prime. They didn't have that kind of group together. KD pelt on the wall. LeBron's pelt on the wall. Now Jimmy Butler's pelt on the wall. Jokic proved it. Thanks for watching NBA Today right now.
Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Espn Mobile.
Welcome to Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Real Hoover wants to be on this stage and in this moment.
Damn.
I didn't even see that.
Ah. That was cool.
I hadn't even seen that.
You didn't see that?
Not when he did it. I seen the highlight, but I didn't see it when it happened.
Wow.
Yeah, that was different.
Yeah, it was. That's the first time I've seen something like that. I ain't never seen nothing.
I used to do stuff like that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was younger.
I mean, he just like this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is so unique.
I was recording it.
Did you?
Yeah.
NBA
Wow.
champion
Okay, you
hasn't
did it.
been crowned, but that was nothing compared to the 46 seasons the city of Denver saw go by before their Nuggets were the ones to lift up the
That was
Larry
me
O'Brien
waiting.
Trophy. Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Xfinity Mobile. Malika Andrews here with Kendrick Perkins, and we just got back from Denver this morning. I need like 3 more cups of coffee after the late night.
How many you on? 6?
We don't talk about that. We're only 4. I want to get a little bit behind the
I know
curtain here.
she's
We
sleepy as
actually
hell.
somebody back in Denver. Richard, what's going on? You're still out there? Oh boy, what boy?
He did not look happy.
This is what I'm gonna say for our loyal viewers. You can see I'm wearing the exact same thing I wore yesterday. That's how long my night has been, right? I just want to make sure we're fully aware that I pretty much went from work to game to work to
Yeah,
here right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if we want to know the legs in between.
I actually like you wearing the same thing from yesterday because it's the hoodie and not all those damn buttons.
Yeah, we're gonna leave the hoodie. We
We're
like
gonna
the
get you
hoodie
on the
look.
unbuttons.
All
We're
right.
gonna get you on the unbuttons.
Director Kathy, for the last time in the 2022-23 season, can you please roll the highlight so we can see exactly how the champs were crowned? What is that, a little chevron action? Miami was not going to lay down, though. 1-15 for 3. That's the worst in any half in finals history the Denver Nuggets had. You can see Nikola Jokic imploring his team to step up in the second half.
Absolutely. And you know what? They did it on the defensive end. I transition, and I thought they got off and ran in the third quarter. We see Michael.
Oh, that's when he did it.
That had an excellent game. He kept his mind right throughout the course of the season.
Wow.
And came in with
Except he kicked it off his foot. You see it?
Yeah, I seen it.
have a game more like this.
Wow.
Well, yeah, and he's still such a
That
young
is so
player. Like,
unique.
I think that's the part. Like, people are like, oh, should he start him? Because Christian Brown had a great game. No, Michael Porter Jr. was special. He rebounded the ball early. He attacked the paint and then hit key shot.
16 points, 13 rebounds for Michael Porter Jr. But Miami wasn't going anywhere. Nice ball movement there. I mentioned the three-pointer struggling early, but Jamal Murray on time, on target.
Absolutely, right in the sweet spot again, on time, on target. But look, the Heat just kept chipping away. Jimmy buckets. I mean, we can question was it a foul or not. He still got to the free throw line. They were able to stay in the game with this play.
They actually reviewed this one, and the referee said, nope, Aaron Gordon, that is a foul. You can see the look on the Nuggets' faces. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. there, as the call was upheld, but the Nuggets stuck with it.
Absolutely. And look, guess what? It's not hard. Create the mismatch, get the ball to the best player in the world, and look at the big fella. I'm not going to sell him a quick spin, go to the basket, then a nice little finger roll layup off the glass. And then right here, Jamal Murray, missed shot. Huge offensive rebound by Bruce Brown. Huge. Crashing out of the corner.
The whole crowd, whenever he makes a play, Bruce through the entire building. And then KCP, again, he wasn't having the best series, but that is such a huge, a crucial steal that he had there.
And he's been here before. NBA champion, come up with the plays that don't show up in the box score.
3-point game at this point. Jimmy Butler kids, he'd hit some big ones. This one wouldn't fall. And just like that, the Nuggets can taste it. They are the world champions. The Jokic brothers celebrate. Let's take a
He
listen to
picked
Michael
him up.
Malone
He's
after the game.
strong.
All the hard work, all the sacrifice, all the dedication, all culminated with us winning a championship. Well, I got news for everybody out there. We're not satisfied with one. We want more. We want more.
It's a good feeling when you know that you did something that nobody believes, and it's not just us. It's just the organization that Nuggets believe in us. Every player believe in each other, and I think that's the most important thing.
I mean, Nikola, he led us all playoffs with his passing some games, scoring other games. This was a historic run. I don't know how you could say he's not the best big man ever, really. Like, he's one of the all-time great basketball players.
Every real hooper wants to be on the stage and playing the game and be in this moment. So see it full circle, going from my rehab, not being able to walk up the stairs, like not just for a month or two, you know what I'm saying? It was for a long time, and a lot of different things going through my head, a lot of tears, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and real ones, just to see it full circle, and I have total belief in myself, and the team have total belief in me, people back home have total belief in me. That's all I could ever ask for, and just to see like this is amazing.
So happy for Jamal Murray after everything that he's been through. But being in the building, the emotion, and the players, and the fans, it doesn't really matter who you're rooting for. There's no better feeling than to be able to witness one of the most special moments in the world to these athletes. But it feels like this is the time, Burke.
Yeah.
You were there, you felt it. What is the word of the day that you have for the Denver Nuggets now that they're world champions?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to get into who's the best big man or the greatest big man of all time, but the word of the day is resurrection. Because last night we witnessed the center position rise from the dead. And that's what the word is, resurrection. And it's more so about Jokic than it is the Denver Nuggets. I mean, it's been more than 2 decades since a center has led his team to an NBA championship, and that was Shaquille O'Neal. And what Jokic did was he has completely changed the
He's
narrative.
the point guard.
that It's not a guard and wing driven league, that you actually can win a championship through a big fella, a center at that. And the thing that I love about him is that he never forget where he comes from. His roots. His roots are, I'm a paint player. I have a jump hook over both shoulders. But I'm a center, I'm a big, but I got guard skills. He resurrected from the dead last night. The center position was resurrected. Now we got new joy, new life around the league. We don't need to see 7-footers hanging out around the perimeter.
Well, I know that our resident big fella, you, our resident big fella, is feeling pretty good about about that. Richard, you have been in this position before. You have been the one standing on top of the world as a champion. How are you going to remember this Nuggets title run here?
Well, I think it was a special run, and so many people have talked about Jokic, and rightfully so. But I think there are so many people, just because I know the organization so well, I ended my career there. There are guys like, Sparky Gonzalez, who was the trainer for 40 plus years in that organization, winning his first championship. Calvin Booth taking over a job that Masai Ujiri left, that Tim Conley left. And what did he do? He brought in, let's talk about his 3 players that he brought in. KCP, Bruce Brown, and Christian Brown. So Calvin Booth, what he was able to do. Josh Kroenke and their group and what they were able to do. There was just so many things in this organization that I thought were really, really beautiful. And then, of course, obviously the players and Mike Malone that they were able to accomplish collectively. So when I look at it from a very different perspective, because I know so many people inside the organization.
Yeah.
And I think about Ish Smith. I think about DeAndre Jordan. I think about Jeff Green. I think about my Arizona brothers, Zeke Naji and Aaron Gordon, who's going to get their pictures up in the Arizona Hall of Fame with all the other NBA champions. So I just look at it from a very different way, and I just think it's so special and so beautiful because all of the people inside the organization that have dedicated their lives and decades to this moment of success.
Yeah, they worked so hard for this, and I feel like it's easy to see Denver go 16-4 during the postseason, and you could forget, okay, it wasn't smooth sailing all the way here. There were actually bumps that they had to get through in order to get to this point. And I caught up with Bruce Brown to talk about that, to talk about the doubters. When you look back, you were told maybe you didn't fit, maybe you weren't enough, maybe you had more work to do. That was part of the message that we've talked about before. Now that you're sitting here a champion, what do you think of that?
I'm lost for words. I was doubted my whole life. This is nothing new. I put a bigger chip on my shoulder, so I had to go out and prove myself to myself. And I'll give you a little gem this year. Earlier this year, a team was in free agent trying to talk to me between me and another player. And I went up to the front office and I was like, why did you pick him over me? And they said, if you came here, you wouldn't play. So.
I don't want to keep you from the celebrating too long. You said you might need your mom to come pick you up. What are the plans tonight?
A lot of Jameson.
His mom.
You told me that you didn't want to talk about what you thought this was going to feel like until you were in the moment. And so now, what is it for you?
It's unreal. I feel like words can't even describe it. Like, it's just excitement, it's joy. God is good. It's just incredible to do it with such a close-knit group of guys.
Tell me about Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, what they showed you.
Yeah, he is
Jamal
real.
Murray is a cold killer.
Damn.
He's ice cold on the basketball court. And Jamal Murray got one of the best mentalities to ever touch the floor. You know what I mean? Regardless of the game, regardless of how skilled he is or how talented he is, his mentality is unreal. And then Nikola Jokic is one of the best basketball players of all time.
So one of the best basketball players of all time, according to Aaron Gordon, is this kid that you were staring at right here. This photo was circulated last night by Nikola Jokic's
He got a Nuggets little shirt on way.
kid wearing a Nuggets hoodie. This is in Serbia. And Ramona, the story behind this
Wow.
that Jokic agents shared, it is part of what you explore in your tremendous piece this morning on ESPN.com. And when I was reading it, it felt a little bit about fairy tales.
That's interesting.
And about dreams coming true, but it also reveals something about this unconventional superstar. Tell us more about that.
We're all trying to make sense of who Jokic is, of why he, there's the video of him with a champagne bottle. There's him walking down the hallway looking completely unenthused, like nothing just happened, right? We're trying to understand who this guy is. Why aren't you more excited to win? Why do you just want to go home after winning the NBA championship? And I saw this photo and I go, this was taken in 2000 when he was 5 years old. That's in the middle of the war in Serbia. The 10-year war where 140,000 people were killed. And earlier in his career, he spoke about that, of being in bomb shelters and growing up where it was dark at night and you couldn't turn any lights on. And so we don't talk about that as much anymore. He doesn't talk about that as much anymore because we want to talk about basketball. But before the finals, he had a quote where he says, "Basketball's not my whole life." And people said, what? We're not used to that. We're not used to somebody saying something so blunt. But there's a reason why he has this perspective in life. Is that there's a lot that he's lived through in his life. That his family is so important. That this is the country he comes from, and that's why he wants to get back there because basketball isn't his whole life. He's seen another side of life, and I think that's what that photo, when you really look at it, it is amazing that it's a Denver Nuggets sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Like
Serendipitous almost.
it's just a gift. There was nothing that anyone planned out. Nobody really knew who the Nuggets were. It was just a gift that somebody gave him.
And that's what's so fascinating is that you wrote in your piece that one of the sayings that's brought up over and over again in Serbia for people who lived through that time is you're either the colonel or you're dead.
There was somebody from Serbia on my junior college team.
Nikola Jokic. Many of the young people rooting for Nikola Jokic are doing so today and then going back to their quote-unquote real life tomorrow. And it's very easy to see that same thing, that same motivation within Jokic. And that is in such stark contrast to Jamal Murray, which was another centerpiece of this story that you wrote about how different these two are, but how perfectly they pair on the court.
Yeah, so much of what the Nuggets have done is they pick the right two stars to build around.
Yeah.
And when you pick the right two stars, you have to get the talent set right. You have to pick complementary talents, but you have to pick complementary personalities. And so for Jokic, when he says basketball's not my whole life, he means it. Like, he's going back to his farm in Serbia as soon as the parade is over. But Jamal Murray is all about basketball. He was raised since the age of 3 playing basketball. His father trained him in the art of kung fu, and so much of his story is about the mental toughness that he plays through pain. That great game that they hold that game great. Jamal had this horrible floor burn on his hand, and Calvin Booth, the GM, said to me, he goes, pain makes him present. That's when you get the best out of Jamal Murray. That's why we see those incredible fourth quarters, those incredible 50-point games like he had in the bubble. And so this is a guy who everything is about basketball. Yeah. And you saw that when basketball was taken away from him, he had to do some soul searching because it wasn't just mental toughness to conquer that. The Nuggets stuck with him. It meant a lot to him, and I think that's really why this team was so strong this year.
It was just so interesting to see this piece, your piece, explore one star who everything in her life is basketball, and another star where maybe that's not the case, but it has yielded this historic, dominant duo. I encourage everyone to go check out Ramona's piece on ESPN.com. Appreciate you spending some time with us here on the day today. Now it's time for you to get some sleep. I know you didn't sleep at all last night on that story. Still to come on our show, Jokic. I mean, he just had one of the most impressive postseasons ever. But Richard compares him to some of the greatest to ever be on the biggest stage. You're not going to want to miss that. And, I mean, of all the MVP interviews that I've done, Ramona, Nikola Jokic was the first one to show up without his trophy. In fact, he told me he didn't even know where it went. He put it down. That's the rest of our exclusive conversation. And it's never too early to ask. Since Michael Malone,
here we go.
Next step is a dynasty. Everyone at home, get out your phones. Perk, I see you have your phone out. Scan the QR code. Vote. Let us know if you think the Nuggets will be repeating next season. We're going to reveal the results at the end of the show. We're just getting started here on NBA Today.
Spurs 2.0.
See, look how much they talking about the Nuggets like that.